You should keep your to-do list short, or should you? That's what we're talking about today. This is Frank Buck, and this is the place to be if you want to get organized and make it look easy. The thing about listening to productivity people is that the more you listen, the more you hear conflicting opinions. And one has to do with the length of your to do list. I hear people talking about only having 3 items on your list or only putting the big things on your list. And they say that you should use paper because that forces you to rewrite your list every day and will encourage you not to put so much stuff on it. But I take the opposite view. You and I have a great deal to do, and that's a good thing. It's like a buffet. Would you go to a buffet that only had 3 things? Well, it would make choosing easier, but personally, I'd like to have more choices. One criticism of the digital task list is that it allows you to put more and more things on your list. Well, the whole point of having the list is trapping all of the things that you want to do now or in the future in one place. And you relieve yourself of the burden of having to remember it all. It's also searchable, and we can concentrate on the one thing at hand and not have to worry about the rest because it's trapped there on the list. You see, if you're leaving things off the list and able to keep it short, where are you keeping those things? The whole point of the digital list is to make it easy to put everything for now on for the future in one place. You see all your choices. When you can see all your choices, you make better choices. Now, any digital task manager that is worth its salt is going to give you the ability to assign a due date to a task. For me, that date represents the date that I want to see that task again, not some hard and fast deadline. One tap on the Today button shows me all of the tasks with a due date of today or a due date that's in the past. I never get everything done on my today list. You probably don't either. But what we see are the options. And most of the things on that list don't have to be done today because if you're like me, you try your best to work ahead of deadlines because you never know what's going to come up. You have the freedom to choose. And so when you're out and about, you can run the one errand that you have to run. And while you're at it, you can run the others on your list that aren't critical. You go ahead and get them out of the way so that they don't become critical. When the internet suddenly goes down, you can grab your phone and start scrolling and looking for things that you can do without the internet. When you look at time management systems, one of the commonalities is making some kind of distinction between the things on your plate for now and the things for somewhere in the future. Now, I do the same thing, and I use due dates to make it all happen. I assign a date of the last day of the month for what I call my master list. These are things that I want to do at some point, but not now. And so if I have extra time, I can always go there and look at some of those and change the due date to today and work on some of those. But I know that they're safely tucked away, and at some point, I'll get to them and I'll do them. What about the things on my today list? Do I have any limit? Well, the only requirement that I give myself is that I have to look at every item on the list. Again, most of it doesn't have to be done today, but by examining everything on the list, I have some assurance that whatever is left at the end of the day can wait. Another commonality among time management systems is identifying those things that absolutely must be done today. So the authors, some will say, put those things on a calendar. Others will say, well, this is your list of 3 things or whatever that you do for the day. But what has worked for me is to divide today into 4 groups. And remember, the milk allows me 4 priorities. So I choose for that first priority, I call it my Fab Five, the 5 tasks that are deadline driven or will really move the needle. There's a story about Ivy Lee, and I'll put a link to it in the blog post to take you there. The Ivy Lee method says that you should choose the 6 most important tasks for the day. And first thing in the morning, start on the first one, keep going until you get it completed, then go on to the second one, and so forth and so on. And Ivy Lee says if you don't finish the 6, well, you wouldn't have finished those with any other system. And what you did accomplish were the most important things of the day. And that makes a great deal of sense. And my Fab Five gives me that kind of priority. We all have plenty of other things to do that have to be done at some point, and we're going to be the ones to do them. And we don't want to have to wait for those things to be super critical for us to do. I certainly hope not. You and I have plenty of maintenance items in our lives. Those are the things that keep our lives running. We all have errands to make and phone calls to make, and we have reports that need to be done, and they need a place on our list as well. They may not be Fab Five items, but they've got to be done. So the next priority on my list are just simply things that I want to see in the morning, followed by things for the afternoon and things for the evening. And what doesn't get done today simply rolls over to tomorrow and appears in the same spot on the list. Tasks for this morning that didn't get done will roll over to tomorrow's list for in the morning. Now, if your list for today is overwhelming, here's a trick that I use with Remember the Milk. I call it blast forward. If you have a lot of things on your list that you want to postpone until next week or even next month, I have a way for you to multi-select those items and move them all at one time. And here's how it works. In the body of the blog post, you're going to see a particular search. Just highlight what you see there, highlight and copy it. And then in your Remember the Milk, paste it into the search window at the top of the screen. Hit enter. Next, click on the Save as Smart List button. Give your search a name. I call mine Blast Forward Eligible. So when I'm looking at my list for today that's longer than what I would like, then in that left sidebar, I look at my smart list and click the Blast Forward Eligible tag. My list has now been narrowed to the single action tasks that are not repeating and are not part of my Fab Five. That means I'm not going to be touching anything that is a subtask or has subtasks because I don't want to mess up that relationship. I won't be seeing anything that's a repeating task because I don't want to run the risk of messing up the repeating pattern. And I'm not going to be seeing any of the Fab Five, those tasks that have been assigned priority one. That little search that you copied and pasted is going to handle that for you. I look at the items on the list to decide if there are any items that I don't want to blast forward. And the easiest way to handle those is to put a check mark beside those and hit the number 1 key. I've just changed those items to priority 1. Hence, they're removed from the screen because they no longer fit the search. I'm left with tasks that I can comfortably move to another day, a week, a month from now, whatever it may be. I just hit the D key, the little shortcut for date, type a new date, hit enter. Those tasks are gone from the list and will show up on the new date. That little search list is blank. I hit my today button and I'm looking at a shorter list. So how long should your to-do list be? Long enough to hold everything you have to do. Use due dates and priorities to line things up so that you never have to rewrite a list. And when you start to feel like things are out of control, do a blast forward and relax. Longer to-do list isn't about pressuring yourself to do more. It's about having a clear picture of your commitments and options. It allows you to make informed decisions about how you spend your time and energy. Remember, the goal is not to finish everything on your list every day. It's to have a trusted system that helps you focus on what's important while keeping track of everything else. By embracing a comprehensive, well-organized to-do list, you can reduce stress, increase productivity, and ultimately get more of the right things done. Thanks for stopping by. This has been Frank Buck, helping you get organized and make it look easy.